Hello, everyone. It is Saturday, March 12th, 2016, and just do a quick video on the markets, Forex market, at least the pairs that I look at, how they finished the week, and what to expect at least the beginning part of the week. There is a ton of news coming out next week, so really. I mean, look at this. Starting right on Monday, the 14th, and I have it filtered out. I have the yellow stuff filtered out. But look at all this red and orange. There's a lot here. So, not the least of which is the FOMC on Wednesday. You have the British pound on Thursday. You have the Swiss stuff on Thursday. That could always be wild. You've got a lot of you got CPI numbers from the U.S., average hourly earnings from the pound, the usual Kiwi GDT dairy pricing on Monday night, early Tuesday morning. You have the Bank of Japan weighing in on its monetary policy. You have more U.S. dollar data on Monday, so just load it up next week. So, you know, those of you that know me know that I take a position of using a lot of Elliott Wave theory and market view, but I always do try to tie it in with the fundamentals and try to tie my trades to setups according to what's coming up in the news feed here. So this is from Forex Factory, but there's a lot going on, much more than there was this past week. So should be interesting, and we'll see how it sets up as we go along. So back to the charts here. So pound yen, this is still looks like it's in a correction. It's one of these corrections that looks like a trend, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I think you could say we're in wave 5 of 5. That's what I got these extra numbers over here. If I go down a little bit, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it looks like we're probably heading into wave 5 of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. And so at some point I am expecting the pound yen to continue the downtrend out on the daily chart. Trend is clearly still down. I think it's got one more push down before maybe that larger trend comes to an end. So the weekly chart is still showing a downtrend here. Again, I think it's got at least one more push down. And so we'll have to wait and see what the Japanese yen or the British pound news does for this. And there's a lot of it on the docket this week. So pound Canadian, not really too interested in trading. It's kind of ugly. We definitely are moving sideways. I know I have some labeling here, but it's really not very clear. It's very sporadic up and down. So, it is in a correction. It's a very sideways, choppy, complex correction here, and not really too interested. I have it labeled this way for this latest move as a 1-2 and then maybe a 3, but like I said, I don't really have any interest in trading that pair at the moment. So pound Aussie daily chart still showing a downtrend, and still CCI is still suggesting that we will go down more, that we may go up for a little correction here. We may see the beginning of a correction here, and down again, it may go up again. So probably will stand pat on pound Aussie too. Again, if anything, I may be looking for this to push back up again as part of a correction. But overall, the trend is still down, and longer term, you still should be looking for shorts on this pair. So pound Swiss, I just started following this one again because it's been very active. And so here we are on the 4-hour. We have this clear corrective channel going up here. And it looks like we may have broken it right here. This was on Thursday. This candle broke. This is the 4-hour chart. And so now we're retracing back, maybe back to this corrective, to the lower end of this channel. And I got this arrow drawn in here. I am expecting this to break to the downside on that pair. And overall, this could be maybe towards the end of a larger pattern. This could be heading towards, into wave 5 here. So, but the waves again are not really exactly that important. It's just that clearly this is corrective. We're going up, a lot of overlapping choppy waves, and now possibly we've broken through. If this lower trend line holds and we don't see price come back up into here again, then I think there's some significant downtrend. There's a lot of pips in this pair, so if this was the top, even if it just comes back to the bottom of this channel, that's 450 pips. So keep an eye on that. Again, we have lots of pound news and we have lots of Swiss news, or important Swiss news, around midweek. So keep an eye on that one. On the cable, again, this looks fairly corrective to me. There's a lot of push and pull. I actually really don't like trading this pair very much. I do watch it because obviously it's two very major currencies, but I actually don't really like trading this pair very much. But I do watch it, and again, this looks pretty choppy and corrective to the upside. Looks like this latest move, this is how I have it labeled. It's a little more clear 5 waves than the rest of this. So again, I am expecting this to eventually break down again, for at least to retest these lows. And again, lots of pound and dollar news to make that happen. So any day that there's pound and dollar news, you're going to have to watch a pair like this very closely. So because again, long term, and still expecting this to go down again. So U.S. Swiss, another one of these pairs that I'm just watching, but not really too interested in trading it right now. Keep an eye on things with the especially with the Swiss news, and see if that has any effect to push this thing one way or another. Even on the weekly chart, it's just very sloppy right now. So unless you're trading it on a very short-term chart, not really too interested in this, but it could clear up with the news this week, so we'll see. U.S. Canadian, again, not one of my more favorite pairs to trade, but certainly I would say this is a correction to this uptrend, and looks like it's still got more downside to go. It's another one of these corrections that actually looks like a trend. But I would say to just continue to look for shorts in this market anytime it rallies. Even though, again, fundamentally, that you may not agree with that, but you can see every time we've rallied here, we've fallen off again. So this rally, may go up a little bit more, but again, longer term, still looking for shorts here. So we'll look for some, negative dollar news. I think a lot of the news next week for the dollar is going to probably wait till the FOMC decision on Wednesday. And normally I think CPI and things would, they may have some effect, but I think the market's really going to be waiting for this, and they're not expecting to make any change to rates, but the statement is going to probably be more important. So keep an eye out on what they say. The press conference, the statement and the press conference at 2:30. So you're going to have to really probably be watching these dollar pairs for at least an hour here on Wednesday to try to get a good judge of what's going on. But that's what I'm thinking, that we will see some downside here. US yen, this looks like a wave 4 triangle. I spoke about this, I don't know, sometime last week. I mentioned this, and I did go short in here when it broke to this. I thought maybe this would be the end of it. But I also said that it could continue on sideways, and it did. It bounced back up. I took some good profit anyways before it took me out. And now I'm just going to stand pat on this and just wait, because it's very possible that we're going to continue to move sideways here. And one of the things that Elliott will say is that when you draw these triangles like this, on these contracting triangles, that where the two lines intersect, which of course is right here, is often a place where the triangle will break. So the market will continue just tighter and tighter range, and eventually it runs out of room, and somewhere in here it'll break. And I still believe the break will be to the downside. May not be a very long move. Again, the measurement would on that estimate would be taking the thrust out of the triangle at the widest point, so which is 370 pips. And so let's say it breaks from about here 370 pips will take you down to about this here, around the 110.40 area as a target, but that's on the daily chart. So it is some decent pips, and we'll see where that goes, but I am expecting that to break to the downside. Aussie yen, the Aussie pairs are still correcting after these downtrends, and but I think there's a lot of momentum pushing these up right now. So this latest move looks to be nearing an end here on the Aussie yen. So I'm not really looking to take any trades on Aussie yen at the moment. I'll be happy to let this trend play out. That's currently in here. I have this labeled as such right now. 1, 2 sideways. 2, very unusual for a wave 2 to move like this. This is usually something you'd see more in wave 4. But so I'm expecting wave 4 to be more sharp to the downside, and then a push back up. And then again, the Bank of Japan rate decision might have something to say about that. So it's pretty much the same story with all these Aussie pairs. This is the Aussie Canadian pair that I just started following again because it looked like it had ended here on the daily chart, had ended a correction here the week before last with this strong move to the upside. So I am expecting to see some more upside, but it looks like this current trend might be ending. And I have this labeled as the end of wave 5 here, and now an ABC. And if this is right, then we might see a push back down on the C wave. So we'll see. But again, it's not one I'm going to be looking to jump in right now, unless it looks like the downside is there, and they may take this correction down on the C wave, and then eventually look for it to go back up again. Aussie dollar, pretty much the same story. Looks like it's ending a trend on the 6-hour chart. And again, looks like a pretty strong correction here at the very least. So we'll see if this is just corrective or if this is going to maybe herald a new uptrend here. So we'll let this wave finish out and wait for the correction and see where it goes from there. And again, some of the news might dictate that. Kiwi dollar, pretty much again the same story. Looks like we're maybe in a wave 4 of this trend. And again, this is probably corrective, but you can see with this thing on the daily chart has been moving, undulating sideways here since the fall, since September. So, you really have to play this pair on the short term, but it looks like at least this current move might be ending soon, and so we'll stand pat here and wait for that to play out, and then wait for a correction and see where it goes. Okay, so now we're into all the euro pairs, and these are all very similar, as we remember from this past week when the ECB rate decision came out. We saw that rapid spike down in all the euro pairs. That's this candle right here. And this is an hourly chart, so we had that big spike down, and then we immediately turned around on all of them and shot up. And, I mean, again, look at the CCI just compressed and rocketing up here. And this is a very telltale corrective move with the CCI after a rapid compressed move up coming down spread apart. And whether this is a wave 2 or a wave 4, it certainly I think is going to go back up and retest those highs at some point. We're sitting around the 61.8 fib level on this pair on Euro Aussie. So again, if we see the Aussie pairs, like I was just showing, see these Aussie pairs end their trends and turn back down, which it looks like they might, then that certainly would, as a correlated pair, push the Euro Aussie up. If the Aussie falls, then this pair is going to go up. So keep an eye on that for the next move up, and because after a rapid push up like this was very much expected. That's why I was in on some of this, but once really, if you miss this, when you get these candles push up this much in one day over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, you cover all this ground. If you didn't get right in on that at the beginning, you don't want to take it. 600 pips in 5 hours. It's just absolutely sick. And if you caught it, awesome. But if you didn't, and you start noticing it up here, I would not take it, because this is what's going to happen. After a big push up, there's going to be some significant correction and profit taking, and that's what we've seen but I am expecting it to go back up. So Euro yen, it's a little bit more clear on this one. This just looks like, again, it's heading into a wave 5. And again, this pair is a little different because of the yen. A little bit different feel to this pair. So sometimes it doesn't always follow what the other euro pairs are doing. But this looks like it's probably in a wave 5 right now. This is almost a perfect 5-wave pattern. 1 deep correction for 2, up for 3, sideways for 4, and then up for a little bit more. It probably won't be a very big move. If you, again, ballpark would be around the same length as wave 2. It's 190 pips, so it probably doesn't have a lot to go. So I don't know if I would take any longs on this. I might just let this one play out and look for a correction and then see what happens. Euro Kiwi, pretty much the same thing again. This was the big push down on the ECB announcement. Again, that big rapid rise up. So I'm looking at this more like a wave 4. Although technically this really violates a cardinal Elliott rule, because if this is wave 4, it goes into the price area of wave 1, which is this. And that's a cardinal rule violation. So you really technically can't say that. But it could be an ending pattern. So we'll see. But again, this has the shape of a correction. I am expecting this to go back up. And it probably will follow suit with all the euro pairs, except for maybe the euro yen. Euro dollar. Again, here was the ECB announcement, and then this huge candle up. Go to the 1 hour again. Here we are, just like all the other ones. And this looks like it's in possibly an ABC now. So this one I think has more correction to go, possibly. Although this might be it. Although the CCI is still suggesting that it's in a correction. So that's why I have this labeled as an ABC. And this one could come down more before it goes back up. So be a little cautious with euro dollar. Again, a lot of dollar news this week to have an influence on this. Euro Canadian. I would say, again, similar story, but it looks like there's another triangle forming on this pair. That looks like it may be ending. So I would expect another little push down for a correction and then back up. Again, this is only a 20-minute chart, so this isn't going to be very much. It's about 113 pips. So if this was the end of it right here, we'll come down to around the 146.35 area, and then it would bounce back up somewhere about here. But triangles again usually happen in the final position, so I would expect one more push down, and then resumption of the uptrend on this pair. Canadian, I just opened this one tonight. I really don't follow this pair normally, but with all the stuff happening in commodities and everything, I thought it would be interesting to look at. And it does look like that this is part of a corrective move back up here. This is probably in a wave 4 or 5 right now. So not one I've really studied very much. I wouldn't, I'm not going to really comment too much on that one. So that's it. Again, keep an eye on the news calendar. Lots and lots of stuff going on this week, much more than we had last week. And so things are probably going to get pretty volatile at times. And I know I'll be watching each day, watching the pairs that have this red level news and looking at the Elliott Wave patterns and trying to base the move on that. So on where it's going next. So, but things can change very rapidly. So stay on your toes, and we'll see how it goes. So good luck, everybody, next week. Hope you enjoyed the video, and